another international tournament for the West Indies and another story for Hetmyer missing.
More like missing flight.
Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle. You can expect the latest in sports news, views, and reviews from our resident analysts. No sports topic is too controversial, and no team or player is above criticism. So just smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on our balanced offering of riveting sports content. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Welcome to Sports DTM.
Greetings, Sports DTM fans, and welcome to another episode of Sports Down the Middle, your channel of undiluted sports content. Raymond and I are here to talk about the recently discovered or news broke that Shimron Hetmyer has been replaced or dropped from the West Indies squad and replaced by Shamar Brooks. Raymond, how you feel? You're good?
Boy, Kirk is either one thing or the other. First was a fitness test. Now you have this missing flight dilemma. Kind of disappointed. We all but for Hetmyer to be included in the squad, and to have this happen now at this late stage, just when the tournament is upon us, it's kind of disappointing.
I mean, we saw the headline: Hetmyer dropped from West Indies squad after missing flight. And as you mentioned earlier, we've always been talking about Hetmyer and his potential as a batter, a player overall, and a leader of this team. And to do something, let me not say do something like this, and to see this coming out, yet another tournament he will be missing after a fairly good CPL. The sequence of events that has been circulating is that the team was scheduled to fly on October 1st, that's Saturday, October 1st, to Australia. And as we know, West Indies will play Australia in a couple, 3 T20 matches before they start their World Cup campaign. Hetmyer asked that his flight be rescheduled to Monday because of family reasons. And clearly that was granted. The flight was changed to Monday. On Monday, the director of cricket was informed by Mr. Hetmyer that he's not going to make it to the airport on time to catch that flight to New York en route to Australia. The group, and this is the release from the West Indies Cricket West Indies. This afternoon, we informed the CWI Board of Directors that the selection panel had unanimously decided to replace Hetmyer with Brooks in our T20 World Cup squad. Whilst we changed Shimron's flight from Saturday to Monday due to family reasons, it was made clear to him that if there were any further delays and issues with his travel to Australia, then we would have no choice but to replace him in the squad, as we are not prepared to compromise the team's ability to prepare for this extremely important global event. So based on the statement, Raymond, they agreed to change the flight. So they accepted Shimron's reason for changing the flight on Saturday. But apparently he should have sorted out all those family issues and be ready to fly on Monday. Unfortunately for him and his fans, he wasn't able to do that. But the board of directors were so affected emotionally, I don't know, feelings, hurt, bad. Them say, hey, what? Everybody say, oh, we are cut him off. I mean, is that, I don't know, a drastic, extreme decision by the board of selectors? Like, clearly it appears as if them never really want Hetmyer in the team at all.
Well, Kirk, as I said before, it's either one thing or the other. I think the board of directors, I think they were a little flexible in making the adjustments to the flight. flight arrangement. And of course, anything can happen, family issues as mentioned, something does come up and would affect the new flight time. Of course, they are aware of the dismal performance in the last World Cup and wanted to get a head start. And in getting a head start, they figure that, we don't want anybody to compromise this team. And they have their eyes on other players who have performed well in the CPL. And Shamar Brooks was one such player. And as such, he was included. So there was some level of flexibility, I thought. Shouldn't be all out drop, it almost seems, from Hetmyer. I don't know why there's still not a possibility for him to be named in the reserve or pretty much put on the reserve list then, but hey. But I see some flexibility. Not far enough, though. Not far enough. Reserve list naming would be one that would benefit his fans and the West Indies on a whole.
I mean, you would, based on the change in the original flight, you would have missed the first match, and having a little bit more flexibility to allow for him to travel after he sorted out his family reasons or family issues, I think would have been acceptable. I mean, are we saying that players cannot have family emergency? I'm not saying that it's family emergency, but have issues that they need to sort out and arrangements made for them to meet up with the team at a later date once it don't compromise, the performance. We saw in the IPL, and sometimes people complain about the players wanting to play franchise cricket more than the West Indies, but we saw in the IPL where Shimron Hetmyer had a family situation, the birth of his child, and they allow for him to travel back to the Caribbean to be with his wife during that period and return to the IPL without any issues at all. I mean, things like this, the franchise teams are doing that gives players comfort that you're on my side and you're here to work together to make this dream a reality for everybody, but not so for the West Indies.
Yeah, Kurt, it would seem that example hit the nail on the head, of course. It seemed that franchise teams are a little bit more flexible than West Indies cricket. However, I'm not so sure if West Indies cricket apparently have the latitude or even the space to do something like that. For Hetmyer, as always, important for West Indies cricket. He's one of the persons that they were expecting to be, one of the stars in the tournament, and as such, they really had their mind set on having him there. And this situation, kind of, I guess you might say hoping on them feelings, but that's kind of, just decided to move and look elsewhere. But it almost seemed like, from a latitude standpoint, the franchise cricketers, there were other persons that could pick up the slack. Unlike with West Indies, they felt like, let's cut and run and move to somebody as quick as possible.
And moving to somebody else as quick as possible. In that same statement, they reported that Shamar Brooks has been part of our T20 international squad for some time now, but he wasn't good enough to make the 15. And now they're saying, based on his recent performances in the CPL, he was a perfect replacement for Hetmyer. However, they don't know when he's going to fly, which means the space to have Hetmyer fly a little later is also an option, but they chose not to. So clearly, the directors, they never want Hetmyer in the team. But Brooks will replace him, and nobody knows when Brooks will fly.
Boy, you're pandering to the fans now. You're pandering to the Hetmyer fans, saying that clearly they didn't want him in the team. But it would almost seem so, given that they're unsure of when Brooks would be able to arrive, and would that compromise the team's ability to train and get prepared for the big tournament? That it definitely seems that way in a sense. So I might agree with you. However, I'm looking at it from another perspective that, Shamar Brooks actually deserved to be in the side. I would not necessarily say deserve to be replacing Hetmyer, but given his performance, he definitely should be considered. And apparently, some persons might agree with me, some persons might disagree with me. Apparently, given what Hetmyer did, he might cause this on himself, allow this slot to be open. Yeah.
And they talk about replacement. There are some players who did absolutely nothing in the IPL, and there's no thought of them being replaced. And I'm not going to go too hard on the captain yet, but he was one such player. He's not doing nothing in the tournament, I guess, because he's the captain and he's from Trinidad. He will be in the team. There's an unknown player who has never played any T20 cricket. Of the 6 teams with 23 players per team, there's 130 something players across the IPL. Carrier wasn't good enough to make that 132 or 130, but him good enough to make the 15 where I go Australia. I mean, you don't have to answer me, but because we're talking about Hetmyer's situation, and it's very unfortunate. But when you say the player, you don't want the player to compromise such a high quality event when the selectors are already doing things where compromise the team's possible performance in such a extremely important event. Where's the balance here?
Well, Kirk, they have decided that they have acted swiftly and promptly on the matter, and they probably
because it's Hetmyer.
Right, because they're probably questioning Hetmyer's coming in anyway after changing the flight once, and now to actually have to look to change a second time. They're like, you're not committed. And so they've acted swiftly and promptly and moved to pretty much, if you ask me, one of the next best option in having Shamar Brooks. Of course, I would always tell you this. I wouldn't necessarily say he's the best replacement for Hetmyer, but he's the next best option in this case.
No, there's Shea Hope and there's Rakeem Cornwall, who both scored more runs than Brooks in the CPL.
Right.
But as I say, I'm leaving it there. Congratulations to Brooks. You represented the Talawas and they won the tournament. So on that basis, I'm not going to complain too much. And we want to wish him all the best. And we also want to wish the West Indies all the best. And we hope that Shamar Hetmyer's family situation will be resolved in the soonest possible time. And we also want to wish him the best. And we hope and pray that one day the West Indies and Hetmyer will resolve whatever issues they're having, because we see it happen to Narayan, is a name that comes to mind. Sunil Narayan has been out in the cold for whatever reason, and we don't want to see this happen to Hetmyer again. In an era when 30 is an excellent average, right? And it is you get a crown if you average 30. Hetmyer is one of those players who can break that mold and be a world beater in the West Indies team, and we want to see him part of this setup.
Yeah, it will be missed for sure. And I almost feel like it's not over. I almost feel like at some point there can be some reconciliation, and you might actually see Hetmyer finding himself there.
Fans out there, we would love to hear from you. What's your thoughts on this developing situation between the cricket board again and Shimron Hetmyer? He was in the team and we were extremely happy that he finally will be representing the West Indies for more than 1 or 2 matches and will be part of the World Cup team. Now we're hearing on the eve of the tour to Australia that he was dropped because he missed his flight. Something that we never really want to hear, but it happens. He said that because of family reasons, but the cricket board has said, the delay is unacceptable and we're moving on from you. Fans, would love to hear from you. What's your thoughts on this? Do you think the cricket board acted swiftly and promptly and right in replacing Hetmyer? Do you think Hetmyer should be blamed for missing his flight, for asking for unreasonable request of the board. Just leave those comments in the comment section below. And always remember to like, to share, and to subscribe. And to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell all of them friends to come and join the Sports DTM family. We'll be following the West Indies and their tour to Australia, as well as the World Cup. Raymond and I, signing out, saying, be blessed.